Let's talk about what happened in VR this week. First up, Quest 2 is getting a bundle deal Black Friday sale price, which potentially drops the Quest to its lowest price it's ever been. Now, if you followed Quest 2 pricing for a while, you know the Quest 2 128GB was $299 for years after launch. And that was a really low price of entry to get a full VR kit that did standalone VR. People loved that. People didn't love the decision so much a few months ago when they decided to up that price to $399. But it looks like that's giving them the freedom to now lower the price, bundle in some things to give better holiday deals. So basically right now, if you want the 128GB Quest 2, you get that for $349, dropping it by $50. But you also get Beat Saber already, because that was bundled in when they upped the price, and Resident Evil 4 VR, which then drops another $40 because that's what you would pay for the game, bringing the Quest 2 down to about $279. Of course, you're having to pay for those games. It's not like you can get it for that price without the games. But those are two of the best games on Quest 2. Two of the games I would say are must-buys, so something that you might have eventually bought anyways. If you do want the bigger 256 gig, instead of that $499 price tag, you get it at $429.99, and you also get, of course, Beat Saber, Resident Evil 4. It's available all over, directly on Meta, Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, Target. If you are interested in picking up one of those bundles, I'll leave a link in the description for you to help get you over to that and get that deal while you can, because for those people who are saving and then the price went up, that hurt because you couldn't get it right then, and now might be the time to get it, get some of those games in, and not end up paying that much more than you had to a few months ago. Next up, PlayStation VR 2 pre-orders opened up this last week. Did you pre-order? Because of supply constraints and other issues, Sony's done this a little bit different of a way. It's not a traditional pre-order. You can't walk into GameStop and put some money down. You can't just go on Sony.com and pre-order. You have to register for a lottery-style chance to pre-order this. Sony has claimed 2 million units is what they have ready at launch. And as far as I know, everyone I've talked to, whether that's Play PSVR, the podcast, some other YouTubers, everyone who tried to sign up got the invitation to pre-order. So it does seem like maybe they have more pre-order availability than they originally thought they were going to, because everyone that tried easily got in. I was able to easily get a PSVR 2 pre-order, and I decided to go with just the bundle without Horizon Call of the Mountain. I figured the Call of the Mountain bundles would be a little more limited and would increase the chances that I'd have to wait a few days after launch. And having the original bundle, I'd have a better chance of getting that. So of course, if you are interested in PSVR 2 and you haven't even tried to do anything with pre-ordering yet, $549.99 is what you're looking at to pre-order the kit. $599.99 is what you're looking at if you want to get the Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle, which in essence saves you $10 on it. The bundle is a virtual digital copy only. You don't get a physical copy of the game, so all it ends up doing is saving you $10, and of course including that in the box. You won't be able to get your PSVR 2 until February 22nd, 2023, and they are saying it may arrive anytime that week. They're not guaranteeing launch day delivery. Fingers crossed, hoping for it on launch day or maybe even a day before. If you're interested, I'll leave some links to where you can at least register to try and get in, although this first round they said was from the 15th to the 18th, so it may not let you register to pre-order or get that pre-order in right away. You may have to wait for the next wave. I'd love to know out there, if you did pre-order, did you have any trouble getting in? Did you get that email early? Did they contact you directly like they did for some people with an offer to pre-order without even you having to register? With the amount of data that we carry on our phones, on ourselves, and at all times, privacy has become an utmost concern in the digital age. Now, of course, in virtual reality, this is an even bigger concern. We think about these new headsets that are now tracking our eyes, our facial expressions. Not only that, but with inside-out tracking, we are strapping tons of cameras to the outside that is seeing everything in our room and our surroundings. To try and help mitigate these concerns, Meta has said what their cameras track and how all of the data is being used, claiming that it's not really being aggregated or saved, sent somewhere, that the data is being processed locally on your Quest. So for example, when you're playing on your Quest and you move your controller just from here to here, that is data that has to be transmitted back to the headset to tell it, hey, your hand has gone from this position to this position, and I need to translate that in the virtual world so you see that movement. And they're claiming that's basically the extent of it. There is a lot of language in this, and I will leave links in case you want to go look into this yourself and read it all as I did. These are their claims. Remember, these are directly from them. So they're saying as that data is collected in that moment, it is processed through the headset internally. It's not sent anywhere, and then it is immediately deleted. Same thing with the eye tracking. They're saying that the headset has to take constant pictures of your eyes to track where you are looking and what you are looking at, but those pictures are immediately being deleted when they are no longer relevant. Now, there is some language that communicates about the crash logs, how crash logs do send additional information into Meta, but they're saying no pictures of your eyes are going, nothing about your hand size or shape when you're using hand tracking. They're saying this is all being kept on the headset. Nothing personally is being sent out to them. They're also pointing out the fact that there is a light indicator on the front of the Quest 2, and that light indicator is supposed to be telling you when that's on. That is the only time those cameras are seeing the room around you. If your headset was just sitting there on a charging dock and that light's not on, then you shouldn't have to worry about any cameras seeing anything at that time. And they also go as far as, of course, saying all of these features can be enabled or disabled for your own privacy reasons if you want to have them turned off and not ever think about that. This is kind of where personal preference comes in too. You know, some people choose to have their webcams always covered with a privacy cover when they're not using them because of fear that people will be able to hack in and see through them and see what's happening there. And now you think about, there's a lot of cameras on these headsets we have in our house, and they're also not only looking out, but now they're looking in if you have the Quest Pro. There are the privacy policies, of course, you can take a closer look at. This is something I'd love to hear. What do you think out there? Are you someone who covers up your headset whenever it's sitting aside? In photos, we've seen Mark Zuckerberg covers his webcam. And as, of course, a CEO tech giant in the industry, there is corporate espionage people have to worry about in those kind of positions where your average consumer may not have to worry the same way. Would love to hear what you think about this, as privacy has become a big talking point, and I will leave links in case you want to check more of this out. If you've never played Walkabout Mini Golf, it is one of my favorite social games to play with friends in VR, and they've added yet another course. A course based on the game MYST back from the 1990s, and more recently actually launched fully in virtual reality on the Quest 2 itself. MYST is a puzzle game that puts you with very little explanation as to what's happening on an island, and you have to go through some pretty intense puzzles to try and figure out what's going on. Well, now, if you don't want to play through that puzzle game that is notoriously difficult, but very interesting, it's a very intriguing game, you can go just play mini golf. This is something I haven't gotten to check out myself yet, but I'm extremely excited to, as someone who's played through MYST somewhat. There was also a Labyrinth based off the Labyrinth movie course, and a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea course based on that movie. So seeing these partnerships with Walkabout Mini Golf, I personally think is really fun. But what do you think? Is there something you're hoping that Walkabout Mini Golf will cover, or are you going to go check out MYST with your friends? Walkabout Mini Golf itself is $14.99. Each person who's going to play this with you needs to have their own copy. But the nice thing about it is each world add-on that has come has been $2.99. But if one person has it, everyone else can actually join them in that world without buying it themselves. They will go in what's called guest mode, which means they can't do the additional puzzles or collect the extra golf balls, but they can still play that world with you regardless of whether or not they own that world. I'll leave a link to the original game in case you are interested in getting that, and that does also show the add-ons that you can purchase separately down below. HTC used to be one of the biggest names in virtual reality, but as the space has expanded more, they have moved more towards enterprise-focused headsets and become less and less of a common household name. HTC has been teasing for a while that they have a headset coming, and they say it's something big, but it's actually means small. This, of course, referencing potentially a smaller headset and still immerse you in VR, but not be so big and bulky, especially as their original Vive or even their Vive Pro models, very bulky, large headsets. The headset still doesn't have an official name, but more and more leaks are coming out. We're starting to see potential images and specs about it. It looks like it may have pancake lenses, which is becoming the industry standard basically at this time. Pancake lenses mean much smaller, denser lenses that can make the whole entire headset smaller, use smaller screens, and yet still give you a great field of view, really crisp visuals like we've seen with the Quest Pro. Having personally tried them, pancake lenses do seem like the future. Much smaller, lighter weight headsets, and it just feels better than our bulky headsets we've been used to for years. The headset is looking like it may contain RGB pass-through, but doing it the same way the Quest Pro does, where it has black and white cameras and yet one color camera that then recolors the images before you see them. As we've seen with the Quest Pro, at least the way they did it, it's not perfect. We've heard that Pico did a better job with their pass-through, so hopefully HTC is learning from these other companies if these rumors are really true as to this headset having this. Now keep in mind, a lot of these are rumors that have come through supply chain, through YouTuber. Sadly, it's Bradley, who's very big into those leaks. If you really are interested in leaks, I would recommend checking out his video on it to learn more about it. But remember, as they are leaks, they're always prone to change. This may be something that never even makes it to market, or makes it to market in a very different form. But it is promising to see that HTC is continuing to try to develop and keep up, especially as their name has become much less synonymous with virtual reality. In probably one of the cutest updates we've seen in a while, Zenith The Last City VR MMO is getting an update that allows you to have pets. Now, this Legends Untold update does have a lot more than just pets. Dungeons, raids, they've made a new onboarding experience for new players. And Zenith, if you remember, was something that when it launched, we covered it here on the channel, we played it. It seemed like a very promising MMO, but it definitely needed more content, and they've continued to develop and deliver on that content. They've added a creature catching system, which now allows you to have pets, as you can see here in the trailer, which looks adorable. Looks like it's going to add another layer to this game, although I personally have a hard time with games that have pets because I always have an intense fear of losing the virtual pets after that. Zenith is now supporting full body tracking if you're playing it in Steam VR, taking this further and making it more immersive for those of you who are actually set up for full body tracking. I know most of us aren't. And of course, with this update, there is a lot more features, system updates. I'll also leave a link to the patch notes in case you really want to dive in fully and see what this all has to offer. But I gotta say, the pets have me kind of interested in getting back in myself. So I'd love to hear in the comments, if you've gotten in, what did you think of it? What have you tried so far? And how is it? It's always exciting to see so much happening in the world of virtual reality and more news, headsets, game updates. But what else is going on out there? What did we not cover this week? I'd love to hear from you, some of the news you're excited about and what's coming next. And then maybe we'll include that next week when we talk about what happens in VR. Thank you so much for coming out and being here with me today, and I will see you in another reality.